So as I continue to let people in, again, thank you for coming in, spending your Sunday night, 7:30. As promised, I brought another one of my super friends, DEIVONE Tanksleey Sr. There he is right there. I'm gonna go through his bio for you. If you do not know, this is Mr. New Britain, Mr. New Britain, Connecticut. Live, you look behind him in his background. That's one of his restaurants that he owns. My wife didn't cook. Go check it out. He'll talk about it one more time. So DEIVONE Tanksleey Sr. overcame poverty, violence, and incarceration to become a successful entrepreneur and community leader. He founded New Britain Legacies. It's a basketball and education program that he's continued to build out that's helping the youth of New Britain and beyond. This program not only is in the city, he's going to talk about how it's also in the correctional juvenile facilities as well. He's also a best-selling author. I believe 2, 3 books. I believe he got another one on the way, which again, too. So he'll tell you about that book as well. And also he started DMTS Network. This is kind of how, I'll give a brief again with the introduction. This is kind of how I came across DEIVONE. And I don't know how many years ago that was, DEIVONE, but I tell you one thing, this guy is a solid brother. Working with him, he had his network, he had an event space. Before it became popular on Instagram, this guy had the event space. I walked in there, met him the first time, and just through working a relationship, doing a website with him, walked in there, was blown away because not only did he have built up this amazing, beautiful workspace, he also took the time to put my logo on there. Without asking me, it was a surprise. I don't know if I ever had this conversation with you, but I appreciate what you did, putting me on the map out there in New Britain. And then in addition to this, he also ran for mayor. Yeah. I'll say it again. He also ran for mayor of New Britain. When I tell you, this is Mr. New Britain, this is Mr. New Britain. So without further ado, DEIVONE, thank you for coming in. Again, those in the crowd, thank you. Those streaming live over here, I'm going to continue to put your questions in. I'm going to let DEIVONE go. DEIVONE, thank you and welcome to the Entrepreneur Network, seminar number 9.
Number 9, Quentin, appreciate you. And I just want to say absolutely thank you for that introduction. And just thank you for all your support as well, working together, building together. That was kind of my showing my appreciation to you as a surprise. Like, listen, you've built the website, we've done work together. So I just said, why not automatically add him as a sponsor? So when people come into this venue, they know who did my website, they know who to go through, and we can basically, share that business relationship and expand together. So you're very, very welcome. And yeah, I kind of try to do that with a lot of people I work with, just catch them by surprise, because we work together. So sponsorship and business is kind of the same thing, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. Yeah, no problem at all.
Without further ado, go ahead.
Yes, so we're here today, Sunday night. We just closed the restaurant. Our hours is 1 to 7. Quentin reached out to me and asked me to come on the show and do this, and I was happy to. This is things that I love to do. I love to share information as I come across information, and as I grow as a human being and as a person. I love to share that information with other people to see if it can help them grow and their endeavors and their business as well. So the topic today that I came up with was trial and error, the power of trial and error, not just trial and error, but the power of it. And it plays 2 sides. One side it plays is my actual life experience, the things that I've been through, the trial and error that I've been through, and then trial and error and business, trial and error and ideas and creating anything. The power of trial and error takes you from level 1 to level 10. So topic number 1, I wanted to talk a little bit about my trial and error and how did I get here today. And I'm not gonna drag too long of my full story, but hopefully we could do this again where we can touch on that story, but there's other things I want to talk to you about today. So, growing up New Britain, Connecticut, from the Mount Pleasant projects at a young age, surrounded by drugs, violence, poverty, that neighborhood story that a lot of people hear, or witnessed and experienced, or just people, friends that you've known that been through things like that. I'm one of those kids who it wasn't in the cards for me to be here today. And at 11 years old, I was incarcerated and sent to juvenile detention, running around the neighborhood, getting into trouble, growing older, seeing the people that I looked up to, thinking that I wanted to be like those drug dealers, like those people out in the street, not really having the education, the guidance, the mentorship, and the understanding, but just being surrounded on a day-to-day basis around all this caused me to act as a product of my environment. And it landed me in prison. It landed me on probation, house arrest, the bracelet, parole, felonies, a whole in and out of prison from the age 11 all the way to about 22 years old. And today I'm speaking to you, I'm 35. So when we talk about trial and error from life experience, being kicked out of school, being locked up at 11 years old, not having both parents in the house and going through the trauma of missing my dad, brothers outside selling drugs, gunshots, walking outside, stepping over needles, like not thinking or even believing that I am going to make it out of this box. I'm going to make it out of the situation. That's the mentality that that I had. And as I grown older and was able to find a way out of that, it wasn't until I realized that if I don't break this cycle, my children are going to be in the same situation that I'm in. And that's when I woke up one day and I said, listen, I love myself. I love my kids. I love my family. I love my friends. But I got to do what's best for me and my kids. And that's when one day I just came home after being in and out of prison. I came home and I had that awakening. And I said, you know what? I'm not doing it again. And a lot of my friends, they thought I was joking. They thought I was playing. They didn't believe me. And when I got my very first job at a grocery store, I think that's when they realized, like, hold on, D is serious. You know, D is serious. Never had a job in my life. This is the first time I went and got a job. And I think that's when my friends started to really like think like, you know what? I think D's serious. And when I put all that behind me, they started to realize, in the beginning, it was jokes. You know, they would make fun of me. They would joke around, play around, you know, D, you'll be back, whatever. But after a couple months, they start to realize, like, you know what? I think D's serious. And that's when my whole mentality changed and my whole mindset changed. And I left that whole life behind me and I started a new chapter. And the chapter that I wanna tell you guys is, it has to do with trial and error, because I didn't know after I closed that chapter that I was surrounded with all my life, living in the projects, being surrounded by all the trauma, all the violence, drugs, everything. I didn't know what was the next chapter. There wasn't no type of guidance. I didn't have that mentor, that father in the house to tell me, you know, we can do this or you can go this way. I didn't have it. All I knew is that in the inside of my body and the inside of my soul and the inside of my heart, all I knew is that I needed change. Like, I needed to change my life or I wasn't going to make it far. And that's the only direction I had. Now, as a young kid, I've always had a vision. So I was always thinking to myself, I was always creating, I was always talking to myself. I always had this vision of something bigger than myself. I just never could really, like, it was always like that vision you have, but it's blurry. You know it's a beautiful vision, but you really can't see the full picture. And that's how I was when I was growing up. So what happened was, as I flipped that old chapter, I said to myself, all right, well, what am I gonna do now? What am I gonna do? Because I know I'm about to go on a rocky road and it's about to be hard. I got 2 kids. I just got a job. What am I about to do? And I realized that all I had to do every day was wake up and just live that 24 hours. And a lot of people talk to me today, and I'm 35, and they say, well, at a teenager, how did you know that? How did you know at a teenager, all you had to do was take it day by day by day? To be honest with you, I didn't. But I was so scared to think far. I was so scared to say to myself, well, let's think 5 years from now. Where could I be? Let's think 10. I couldn't think that far. I only thought about today. And I said to myself, if I can wake up every day and just focus on the 24 hours that I'm given today and put the work in that I need to put in to become a better person and a better father, then let's just do that. And that's what I did. I woke up every single day and I put my all in whatever I was doing. At this time, I was working at Price Right, right? So a very interesting thing happened to me when I was working at Price Right. Now, you're talking about a kid that never had a job before, and I was just involved with the streets. It was just violence, drugs, everything. And I never had a job before. So now I go to this workplace and I'm actually adjusting faster than I thought. Showing up on time, customer service, you know, speaking to the customers with a smile on my face. I'm not going to work frustrated, and I'm working at a grocery store. I'm working at Price right here in New Britain, right? And one thing that happened to me that opened my eyes forever, and I never would know who this guy is or who this man is, but he used to come into the grocery store, and one day I was cashing him out, and he said, you know, young man, you have a really, really, really rich spirit, and you seem like a very good guy. He said, but one thing I want to tell you, because your work ethic looks like top of the line, like, you know, the way that you're putting everything in the carriage neat, like everything speaks, everything talks. So he said to me, one thing I would tell you is that having a job is okay, you know, working for, you know, a grocery store, whatever, you know. He said, but becoming a tool will change your life forever. And when he said that to me, it made me think. I said to myself, I said, becoming a tool. I said, what you mean by that? He said, well, think about this. When you went out looking for a job, you applied at Price Right, they gave you an interview, they hired you, and you started working, right? I said, yeah. He said, well, when you become a tool, they look for you. I said, that was deep. That hit me hard for the simple fact that, like I said, growing up, I ain't really had mentors to really give me that type of game. So when he said that, it made me open my eyes a little wider. Now, at this time, my eyes is already starting to open because I'm being experienced. I'm being exposed to different things. So when he said that, I said, So I said, what advice would you give? He said, well, you know, think about a trade or something. You know, think about, you know, going to college. Think about something that you can create and it could become a tool that they need you. And when I left work that day, my mind started just going. It just started going. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna apply and go to electrical school. So at this time, I'm still around my friends, and some of the trial and error that I knew I had to go through, I knew it was going to be rough, but I was in for it because I already knew what I was in for. So the moment I told my friends, I said, listen, I'm about to go to school. The first thing they said to me was, like, for what? Like, I said, I'm going for electrical. They was like, yeah, but you got felonies. You can't get no electrical job. Now, mind you, they were right. They were 100% right. I didn't know that. And this is where some of the trial and error that I'm going to take you on, that I went on my journey where I didn't know. So, but one thing I did know is that if I believed in what I wanted, I got it. They said I couldn't get a job at a store because I had felonies. Price Right hired me. So that was one check that made me believe that, all right, it may be hard, but it ain't impossible. So let me keep going. And I knew it was going to get harder. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go to electrical school. And they was like, you got felonies. There's no one going to hire you. You don't even got your GED. So when my friends hit me with all that, that kind of like hurt, but it kind of helped me to think back and prepare myself. So I was like, you know what? You're right. I do got felonies. They don't really hire felonies, and I don't got my GED. So I called Lincoln Tech and I said, listen, I want to go to school there. They took me out for an intake. They was like, you have your GED? I'm like, no, I don't, but I can get it. They said, actually, we have a program here that's about to go away in a few months. And all you have to do is take the basic reading and basic math. And you can basically, it's a substitute for your GED. And if you pass, you can go to school here. Tell me why. Now listen, I did not graduate high school. I did not graduate high school. Tell me why in 1 hour I aced that program and I got accepted to Lincoln Tech and to go to school to be an electrician. Now, this is part of the trial and error, but it was happening so fast, it was increasing my strength and my level of, what word I'm looking for, my level of power that I knew that I could tap into to use it for the role that I was ready to take. Now, as soon as I aced that, think about what's the first thing that came to my mind. Think about it. The first thing that came to my mind was, now I know I can do anything. I know it's going to continue to be trial and error. It's going to continue to be hurdles. It's continue to be walls that's going to come down. But now I know I could do anything as long as I keep this vision and keep this mindset of change and wanting to do better. Now, my friends told me I couldn't go to electrical school because I don't got my GED. And they told me I got felonies, and the whole world was telling me that it's not in the cards for me. So think about this, right? I passed the test. I get accepted. Now, what do you think that did for my friends? They completely stopped denying me. Even though they were still in the streets, they were still involved in what they wanted to do, they stopped the negative pullback on me. And then they started encouraging me. They started looking at it like, damn, like D been saying that in the beginning, he gonna stop selling. He stopped selling. You know, he said he gonna get a job. He got a job at the grocery store. He said he gonna go to school. So now they stopped with the negative pullback, because now they started believing, like, you know what? Not only is he consistent, he's serious. Like, he's serious. And it also gave me more power and more energy and more belief in myself to say, damn, I know it's going to continue to get harder, but let me keep fighting. Let me keep going. And the other hurdle that I knew I was going to have to face is electrical companies did not hire felons. And not only did I have a felony, I had 6. I had 6 felonies. So now I'm like, all right, I'm about to spend all this money on school, not even with no guarantee that after school I could get hired. But I know one thing, I'm not going to give up. So I go to school for electrical, Lincoln Tech, 2009. And after 18 months, I graduate with an electrical diploma. And throughout those steps and that process, it was very, 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 very challenging and very hard. But I had the vision. I had the vision. And one thing that I do know is that God doesn't give no one a vision without giving them hurdles, because he needs to make sure that this is what you really want. You really want this? Do you really, really want this? Then this is what you got to go through. And if you can make it through these hurdles and through these walls and through these trials and errors, then maybe it's for you. Now, I made it all the way through, walked the stage. I'm talking about a kid that didn't have a GED, a kid that came from the projects, a kid that didn't have the guidance, the mentor, parents weren't around. I'm talking about like a blank slate. I didn't have it. But one thing I had was a vision, and I had that ability to just go to work, just go to work. Because I know that movement it's a cause and effect in the world, where as long as you're moving, there's something that's going to come back to you. And I leave the rest of that up to God. So now I graduate and I'm on my next journey now. So now I don't got a job in the electrical field, but I got the diploma and I got the experience to become a electrical apprentice. Now the school sets us up with 4 interviews. So I go to all 4 of these interviews, believing that I'm about to ace these interviews. Like, I'm about to ace all of them. All these companies denied me. All of them was like, nah, I apologize, but unless you get that off your record, we can't hire you. I felt like discouraged. Yes, I did. But I knew that it was just going to be hard. I'm saying to myself, like, damn, this shit going to be hard. Like, it's going to be very, very hard. But I knew what I was up for. I knew that I was going to get 1,000 no's. I knew I was going to get 1,000 no's. I just didn't know Was it going to be 100? Was it going to be 200, 500? Was it going to be 4 no's? I didn't know how many. I just knew it was going to be a lot. So when all the interviews the school set up for me said they couldn't hire me, I continued to work at the grocery store and work at a few restaurants that I applied for. So now I got 2 jobs, working at the restaurant, I'm working at the grocery store, I'm taking care of my 2 kids. And then at the same time, I got this electrical diploma that I'm applying for because I'm trying to elevate. I'm trying to get to that status that the guy told me in the story. I'm trying to become a tool. So now I'm very passionate about it and I'm just working. And it wasn't until 2012 I got my first break. And it was a company in New Britain, Connecticut, CMAC Electrical. I applied and I had an interview. And I'm gonna tell you the difference between this interview and the difference between the 4 interviews that I had set up with the school is the school prepares you and preps you for certain questions, to act a certain way, to talk a certain way, to wear a certain, suit or clothes or whatever. And it didn't work for me. It just wasn't in the cards. And when I called CMAC Electrical and they told me to come down for an interview, I said to myself, I'm about to go down there and be DEIVONE Tanksleey. Like, I'm about to go down there and be DEIVONE Tanksleey. That's the only way that I feel that this is gonna work. So I go down to the interview and I sit down. And as he's looking through my application, the first thing he said was, I see that you have a few felonies. Do you mind explaining? I said, yes. I said, if you can see, all those felonies is drug charges, attempt to sell charges, growing up. I said, growing up in the projects, surrounded by the things that I was surrounded by, my brothers, and being influenced by them. I said, all we really knew, and I'm telling this to the guy that's interviewing me at the electrical store, and this is something that the school told me, don't talk about, and I didn't get those jobs. So I said to myself, I'm trying it my way. So now I'm telling him my story, but it's an interview. He asked me, and I'm explaining to him, they're drug charges. There wasn't like violent charges, gun charges, robberies. I wasn't involved with that. I was selling drugs to help provide for myself. And I was also influenced by my surroundings. And I didn't have the father figure. But if you give me a chance, he cut me off right there. He said, just for being honest and me being a company in New Britain, knowing what goes on in this city, and for you to graduate an 18-month program, it shows not only did you show up every day, but it shows that you were passionate. It shows that you were serious about what you were doing. And just for that, I want to give you a chance. And he hired me on the spot. Now, when we talk about trial and error, that's some motivation and some powerful words, because I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew if I was to be myself, he would either accept me or not. And he accepted me for who I am. And that guy gave me a chance. And that started my journey from chapter 2, which I'm about to get into. Now, Quentin, does anyone have any questions before I get to chapter 2?
So far, so good. Keep going.
So far, so good. Okay. So now, Bung, chapter 2, electrical, they hired me. Now, he told me, he said, the only thing that we can't allow is we can't allow you to go into certain hospitals and wire up certain companies, and they got Aetna, they got Hartford Hospital. We just can't allow you, but we can put you on the field. So that's what they did. They put me on the field. My work ethic was so consistent. It was so powerful that a few months later, he contacted me and he said, we have a job at this mansion and we're sending a couple of the foremen up, and they asked if you can come. So we made an exception for you to come. After that, they had me working in the hospitals. They had me working in Aetna. They had me working in everything because of my work ethic and because of the fact that I was willing to put in the work. And I had a vision, and I believed in that vision. And I believed that the hurdles and the walls and anything in front of me was not going to stop me or knock me down, that energy projected so much that it opened other doors that they said couldn't be opened. Now, if that's not the power of trial and error and success, then I don't know what is. Now, let me fast forward a little bit now. And since I gave you my life with trial and error, let me give you trial and error with business. All right. So today I'm sitting in my restaurant. My wife didn't cook restaurant. Anybody haven't heard of a restaurant called My Wife Didn't Cook in New Britain, 89 West Main Street? I am the founder of it. My wife and I created it in 2018, and we're in our 5th year today. And I'm also in the location right now, if you can see behind me. Some of the people that inspired me is hung up on the wall. I got Martin Luther King over there, got Malcolm X over there. And yes, so I'm in my restaurant today. Now, when we talk about trial and error, the whole beauty of it is to grow, all right? We have to knock out the fear of anything in the world, and we have to keep on going. That's what trial and error is. Trial and error in business, trial and error in life, trial and error in personal development and being creative, whatever it is. You just want to wake up every day and you want to try things. You want to try things so fast so that the next day you forget about it and let everybody else talk about it, but you're growing and you're moving on. I don't care if you fall on your face. I don't care if you slip and people laughing at you. I don't care if you feel embarrassed. I don't care if you're scared, if you feel, that doesn't matter. What matters for human growth, for business growth, for life growth is trial and error. If you're not willing to go through the process of trial and error, then you're not willing to go for greatness. You're not willing to shoot to be excellent, to shoot to be the best that you can be, because there's nothing without trial and error, right? So I'm sitting in this restaurant 5 years from now, right? Where most restaurants fail in their first year, 50% fail in their second year, and over 70% don't even make it in their third year. Well, I'm sitting here today in my 5th year, and let me explain something to you. No restaurant experience other than working in a restaurant as a dishwasher and as a prep cook, all right? No business experience. Like I told you, I went to electrical school, all right? No knowledge whatsoever in running a company, but I seen something. I seen something in my community that there was a need. And I said to myself, what if I open up a restaurant, a cultural soul food restaurant? What if I open one up? Just what if I did? Now, as soon as I thought of that, I said to myself, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a lot of trial and error. And if anybody knows, when it comes to any business, it's hard. But when it comes to food, it's the hardest. Like, food is the hardest thing. And not only because of the quality and the taste of it, but you have to deal with, you're dealing with health departments, you're dealing with people's safety, people getting sick. You have to deal behind the scenes. A lot of people may not know, but if you're not on top of your game when it comes to food, you can really get people sick. You can harm people. There's a lot that goes into it when it comes to trial and error. So focusing on the meat of it, I said to myself, all right, food is one thing, but making sure that everything is perfectly done the right way to protect the community from any type of sicknesses is another thing. And I didn't have knowledge in both. And what I did was I went straight to the books. I flipped that next chapter and I said, listen, I already know how trial and error works. So now I have to go through it with this establishment. I have to go through it with the restaurant. And that's what I did. I started reading. I started buying books. I started researching. I started networking. I started going into these seminars. I just started loading myself up with as much energy and as much information as I could to build myself up to lose that fear and jump out the window again. And that's what I did. I opened up the restaurant in 2018. And when I tell you trial and error, they were chewing us up. Like, and I was okay with it because one thing I did know is that in certain businesses, you always have to get the kinks out. Like that's just part of business. You just have to get in there and you have to try this and that don't work. You have to add that, you have to adjust that. But being that you open your doors and people are coming to try your food is another thing. So for a whole year, trial and error for me was almost like a nightmare. But I had to wake up every day with different feelings. Some feelings was like, nah, I don't want to do this. I don't want to, this ain't my profession. I never had a dream to opening up a restaurant. I just did it off the base and the need of the community, the platform, and to bring something different. I'm good. And then I realized, I said, you know what? Life takes you on journeys for specific reasons. I may not had a passion to open a restaurant, but I always had a passion to deal with people. I'm gonna say that again. I may not had a passion to open a restaurant. You know, I love basketball, I love music, I love writing, I love books, I love building, I love, you know, I may not had a passion to open a restaurant, but I had a passion to deal with people. And look where God landed me, in a place where every single day, all I have to do is deal with people. So instead of running from that, I embraced it. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna take on this challenge. And I took on this challenge, and I'm gonna tell you guys out there that's watching, the ladies out there, the guys that's out there, any youth that's logged in, I'm gonna tell you something. When you set out to do something in life, when God lands you somewhere, you might not understand why you're there. Just let it be. Just let it be. Because I wasn't a chef. I didn't go to culinary school. I didn't have a passion to open a restaurant. But once I realized every day, why? Why am I in this restaurant? Why? Because I love people. I'm a people person. Quentin to tell you, I'm a people person. I love networking. I love building. I love working with the youth. I love working with the parents. I love creating. I love people. And he put me in one of the hardest places to deal with people, but also in one of the most beautiful places to deal with people. Because I'm going to make sure at the end of the day that the people that I interact with, they walk away saying, whether they like the food or didn't, whether they like the establishment, the look of it or didn't, whether they like the color, whether they like the business, at the end of the day, after a conversation with me, when they turn around and walk away, they're gonna say, that's a good kid. That's a good person. I like his energy. I like the way he do business. So with that being said, you may not know what direction you're going in when you're shooting for your dreams. You may not know how far the destination is. You may not know what platforms you may be placed in. But when you're placed in those platforms, it's a blessing. And take that blessing and go with it. And that's what I've done. And I'm gonna tell you that what I learned in this restaurant business is valuable. It's valuable. I learned so many things. I've built so many relationships, and it guided me. And when I look back at through all the trial and error of building a restaurant, opening it, working with the fire department, working with the health department, working with the city, you know, working with people, employees, taxes, the IRS. When I look at what I had to learn and be involved with for the past 5 years, you can't put a price tag on the wisdom, the knowledge, the experience that I've gathered from opening this establishment. And that's why I say that not only the power of trial and error, but it's a blessing to believe in something and go for it. Because you may not think that that thing was it, but God knows more than what you know. And he put me in the perfect place ever. And that brings me to customer service. Now, I showed y'all trial and error through my process of life and what I had to go through to get here. I also showed you the trial and error of just going through the business part of the restaurant. I have other businesses, like I have a music business, I have a nonprofit youth program, we're in Legacies, where we work with kids and parents, but I'm not going to touch on that right now. I want to get to customer service, customer obsession. All right. Now, one thing I would like to, one second, right before I get to that, let me see something. Do you speak to team groups? You're still out. Before, I was just going to answer a couple questions before I flip the chapter.
I got you. So the next one is, what challenges did you encounter while opening a restaurant?
Okay. I probably touched on it a little bit, but I'm gonna tell you one of the main challenges is when I was opening a restaurant, I had to get my Surf Safe license. And I had to read a book this thick, me and my wife. And if you don't pass that Surf Safe license, then you're not opening a restaurant. So one of the main challenges is I had to get my Surf Safe license. So I had to stay up. I had to read temperature, holdings, you know, because if you had, people think that you could cook at home and, oh, I cook at home, I'm gonna open a restaurant. But there's certain temperatures that the food have to be at, because the food can get warm and then get hot again and then get cold, and then it can cause fungus, and then it can cause, people can get sick. So it's a lot of stuff you have to learn. You can't just open up a restaurant and be like, I know how to cook at home, so I'm gonna start cooking. Like the back end of it is very, very challenging. So one of the main things was getting my Surf Safe license. I had to get that license, so I had to study, and then I aced that. We passed that. Another challenge is working with City Hall. It's so many different departments where you have to work with, and you have to create a checklist because it can get overwhelming. You have to meet with them multiple times, and they may say, well, no, you need fire sprinklers, or nope, you need to change that wall. I don't like how this floor is set. You need 2 bathrooms, not 1. Like, so dealing with the City Hall department, dealing with the health department, dealing with the fire marshal, making sure people are safe, making sure that the fire alarms is set up in the right way. Like, it's so many things when it's coming to opening up a restaurant. And then that's not even getting to your POS system, your payroll, making sure you have an accountant, making sure your funding is there, your budget is right, so you don't run out of money and then you can't open up. The way that you see the restaurant now, like, I did not have, like, if you look at my restaurant right now, like, I want you to go like on my Facebook page, and this restaurant was empty. Like, I'm talking about no TVs. We had probably 3 of these tables, and that was kind of it. Like, Quentin could tell you, like, he was here on grand opening. We had nothing. And you know why? It's because we knew that people before us was opening restaurants, and they was spending so much to make their restaurant look good, and it was time to open restaurants and weather the storm. They ain't have no more money in the bank, ran out of money. So we were like, listen, we just gonna open up, and then little by little, we'll add a TV here, we'll add this here, we'll add a picture here, we'll add this here. And that's how we did it. So I would say just a lot of those things, you know, and there's more, but just to answer your question, a lot of those things opening a restaurant. There was another question, right, Quinn?
Yep, and then one other. How did your naysayers react to see you watch and see you live your dreams? Because again, when you talked about before, they were saying how they didn't believe you could do it until you made it happen. So fast forward to today, what are they saying now?
To be honest, they're around, but they're not around. Like, they don't, like, I put it like this. They haven't walked in my restaurant, and my restaurant been open for 5 years. That probably answer your question. And they're still in the same city. So yeah, it can get touchy, I guess, for a lot of people.
And that was the last question. Keep going.
All right. So now customer service. So this is very, very powerful, and I would like for people to take notes. I'm also going to drop 2 books that Quentin probably could add in the chat, so y'all can go look up the author and read these books. But customer service, all right? One thing I learned from all the corporations, whether it's Walmart, Target, Shake Shack, Chick-fil-A, all these people that I like to study and read about and learn, they all have one thing in common. Amazon, all of them, and a lot of you probably know. They always say that I'm in the customer business. I'm in the people business. Chick-fil-A like to say, I'm not in the chicken business. I'm in the people business. You know, Amazon like to say customer obsession. And when I started digging deep to realize why is it always customer? Like, we understand customer service, and a lot of people take it lightly. You know, I'm just called customer service, or I work in customer service, so I'm going to customer service. No, but you have to really dig deep into what that actually means. And that's what I want to talk to you a little bit about. All right. Customer service is bigger than what we think, because without customers, there's no, my wife didn't cook. Without customers, there's no wherever you work or whatever business you have. Without customers, I can't pay my employees. I can't feed my family. I can't build. I can't grow. So not only are they customers, someone who helps you feed your family is more than a customer, you would agree, right? If you're helping me take care of my family and you're a customer who walks in here every day, wouldn't you look at that person a little bit more than a customer? Yeah, you'll start to begin to look at them like family. And that's how I look at everybody. So if you're part of my restaurant and you're walking into my restaurant, you're ordering online, even if you're not even buying nothing and you're just sharing my post, sharing my link, sharing my content, anything that you're doing to help me elevate my company and my business, you're part of that family. And one thing I want people to know is I don't care if you're the owner, if you're the CEO, if you're the creator, if you're the founder, your customers are really the owners, the CEOs, the founders. Your customers are, because you can talk crazy to a customer, or you can treat a customer wrong, and that customer could say one thing and it could destroy your business. It can guide people to a whole nother direction. I felt it myself. If I don't feel welcome somewhere, I'm not telling my friends to go. I'm not telling my family to go. I'm not telling my business partners to go, and I'm not going no more, because the food could be amazing. The product could be amazing. The clothes, the shirts, anything that you're selling could be amazing and great. But if I don't feel welcome and I don't feel like I'm treated well, and I'm probably sure you guys feel the same way, there's no space for me there. And that's what I learned in my space of business, in my space of customer service. It's very, very simple. And that's why I saved it for last. All you have to realize is that customers drive businesses. Customers create and build companies to multi-million dollars. And if you treat customers like you treat family, the sky's the limit. Customers has shown me what to do and what not to do. I listen to my customers. I never take nothing serious. I never take nothing personal, but I always listen with an open ear and an open mind. I like to sit down sometimes at night and just go on Google and just look at a lot of people like to look at the 5-star reviews and the 4-star reviews. I respond to those. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, because that helps me know that I'm on the right track. But I also like to listen to the 1 reviews and the 2 reviews and the 3 reviews, because that helps me build and adjust. And I done seen the power of adjusting to those and that customer coming back in and becoming a loyal customer forever, because they're not used to people responding to them in the ways that I was responding to them. This is trash, this is nasty, All I did was come in and provide a softer landing, because I know that it wasn't personal. It wasn't a personal attack on the product or a personal attack on me. It was their experience. So how can I make that experience a little better next time if they want to come back? And that's my whole game plan. That should be all of our whole game plan when we're creating a business, when we're creating a product, when we're creating a company, and we're providing a service to people. How could we change the way that experience was for that customer to make sure that customer come back and tell their people? And before we wrap it up, you might have questions, but before we wrap it up, I want to drop these books for people out there that want to start a business, a company, a nonprofit organization, whatever you want to do out there. I want to drop these books. And the first one is called The Compound Effect. The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. All right. Darren Hardy. All right, put that in the chat for me, Quentin. It's called The Compound Effect. And the other one is called Atomic Habits by James Clear. Atomic Habits by James Clear. And the beautiful thing about these books is that there was a study done, right? And the study proven that, and this is all about progress, trial and error, because trial and error only equals success if you learn and take actions from the trial and error. That's what I want to get to, and I'm gonna say it again. Trial and error only works if you learn from the trial and error and take whatever you learn from and propel yourself to make those changes, and then it equals success. So you can't just have trial and error and trial and error and trial and error and trial and error, and you're not looking back learning from what the trial and errors and the studies and everything you've been through brought you. So the reason why I dropped those books is because these books helped me in so many ways. So many ways. So one thing I want to tell you is that there was a study done, and it talked about the compound effect of people changing in their lives and growing and building. And it talked about that getting 1% better every day. 1%, just 1% better every day in anything creates a compound success effect. And what happens is when they did the study, they said 1% better every day for 1 year, you will become 37.38% better than you were. So if you did one push-up a day for 1 year, within that 12 months, you will become stronger than you were when you started that one push-up a day, as opposed to someone who decided to, the opposite, like say he decided to drink a soda once a day for 1 year. Well, he will become the opposite. And a lot of people look at it and go, well, it's only a soda. Yeah, but the compound effect, the power of compounding success or compounding failure can either destroy your health or it can benefit you in your health. And that's why I use the sugar of the soda or I use the push-ups. But at the end of the day, if we're using business, if I wanted to change just one thing a day in my business, I wanted to learn marketing and it was overwhelming and hard. I know that if I wake up every day and get 1% better in learning the wisdom and knowledge of marketing, after 365 days, I will become 37% better than last year. And that's what success is. People think you wake up and you go for the home run. You just go straight for the home run. No, you wake up, like I said in the beginning, and you take it day by day by day by day. Now, they also said that failure compounds. So if you wake up and you do nothing, you don't try to improve in your business, improve in your product, improve in your company. Every single day, you just wake up and you're just in la la land. In 12 months, you will become not only worse, but you will become approximately 0.6 worse than you were. And 0.6 sound like a little bit. People say, well, why it ain't 37%? Because you're going the opposite way. Whatever doesn't create and build, it dies. So read those books, The Compound Effect and Atomic Habits, and that will put you in a path, in a direction to start succeeding in whatever you want to do. And the last thing, to wrap up the trial and error, to wrap up customer satisfaction and customer service, to wrap up the compound effect, you're going to be scared. You're going to be scared. You're going to fear. Everything, every warrior, there's no such thing as a fearless warrior. There's no such thing as a fearless artist. There's no such thing as a fearless nothing, soldier, nothing. Everyone fears something. Everyone fears. The difference is, are you going to let those fears keep you where you at? Are you going to walk through the path that you believe in, and you're going to face your fear head on and come out the other side stronger than you were when you entered? And I think that's the key point that I want to make sure that I drive home today. No matter what I gave you, fear is always going to come at your front door. All you have to do is take that vision, take that belief, take that passion, take that effort and push through it. Because it's only two sides of the world. You're either going to be in the stands, clapping and cheering for other people, or booing for other people, boo, or clapping, or laughing, or chant, or you're either going to be in the stands, or you're going to be down there getting kicked by the bull, trial and error, getting smashed, getting beat, crying, getting bullied, getting stomped on, you know, winning, losing. So it's either you're going to be in the stands, clapping, cheering, and booing, or you're going to be in the dirt, getting beat up, learning, growing, getting stronger, and getting better. Either way, you have to decide what side of the world you want to be on. And I decided to be in the world where I want to get beat up. I want people to come at me. I want to be challenged. I want them to laugh. I want them to say, D messed up, because I'm going to make sure tomorrow I'm not going to mess up, or I'm going to get better. So that's my advice to everybody that's tuned in today. That's my advice for everyone who's listening. I want to thank everyone who tuned in today very, very much. I'm going to stay here for some more questions. And Quentin, I just want to say thank you very much. You allowed me to really take out some more information that I kind of been holding in. I haven't had an interview in a long, long time. And I used to have a lot of interviews, and I've been growing and going through so much. You gave me the opportunity today to really backtrack and take some of the things that I've learned and I'm provided to this platform. So thank you very much. And if people got any questions, I'm here.
Devon, thank you. Anyone in the chat, anyone with questions? One other question I got from the stream while you were going, someone asked, do you have any tips or routines that you continue to use from those books?
Oh, yes. The main thing is the compound effect. Like, I swear, when I tell you guys that we all probably are victims of it, we wake up, we know that there's a hard day ahead of us, and the easy thing to do is to go to something that feels soothing. The easy thing to do is turn on the TV. The easy thing to do is burn 3-4 hours on social media, strolling, looking at everybody else's life. The easy thing to do is to, you're supposed to be on the diet, is to go there and eat something you're not supposed to be eating. That's the easy thing to do. The hard thing to do is to say, no, this is my schedule. And I know that if I just do this one thing every day and get a little bit better, I just know that it's going to get easier after the week, after the month, after 6 months, and then a year. So one thing that I learned from those books is to stay consistent. Okay, consistent with what I believe in and what I'm doing, and trust the process. Don't worry about the end goal. The end goal, we have no right to the end goal. God only knows the end goal. All our job is to do is to trust the process and learn through that process.
And then another question, how does your children/family feel about your success today?
My mom is very, very proud. My grandmother is proud. My brothers and my sisters, man, they call me every day. I'm like the youngest, and people think I'm the oldest, and they call me every day. And my big brothers and my sister and my mom, my son, he's 19 years old. He's in college now. That's my junior right there. My daughter, she's 10. She wants to be an entrepreneur. She loves everything she sees. My stepkids. It's beautiful. I believe that they look at me like a miracle, and I try every day to just keep inspiring them. You know what I'm saying?
Perfect. Any other questions? You can put them in the chat. I got a question for you. So, yeah. I love everything you spoke about. I'm gonna do a live. I'm gonna put this ask on you. So we have to do our in-person networking event, because we're going to take this off of Zoom, and we want to do our first event at your location. We make that happen.
Oh, absolutely.
You set up
absolutely.
So we can come. Everybody can check out the restaurant. We'll do our first in-person network event at your location.
Absolutely. Listen, I had to put the phone on the charger real quick. That's why I'm in the kitchen right now.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. I think that would be dope. I think it'd be lovely. We could
that way everybody can come check it out and see it.
Yeah.
Hey, take care of it, have it catered. Last thoughts. Anyone with any other questions? So Devon, I'm gonna share my screen real quick. So again, This is seminar number 9 with Devon Tanksley. I'm gonna share my screen for everybody that's here. So if you are not a member yet of the Entrepreneur Network, all you have to do is go to LLC.com. If you click the networking tab here and go to network members, as you can see, we got Devon right here. Devon got to finish his profile, so he's going to put his picture up right here, just like a DJ QT. And then if you click here, if you want to send him any messages, if you want to follow up, refer him to anybody, click here. If you want to come here and watch, if those that came in late, if you go to the video content library, you can rewatch this live feed from the beginning. And then again, come check out all our other entrepreneurs that we have in here. We're closely approaching 100 entrepreneurs that are in here that have any type of services or products that you could definitely be interested in. And again, the goal of this entrepreneur network is to continue to build as a family and help each other. Again, why I started this, even Devon knows this, I'm big on helping everybody and building relationships. So my goal with this network is to continue to build these relationships. And the goal, biggest goal would be to, if you have something that you need, check the network. I know Rashea right here, she just released a book. I purchased the book myself. And again, like I said, even with Devon's restaurant, I'm going to try and set it up so that we can go offline and have our first networking event in person at My Wife Didn't Cook right there in New Britain.
Absolutely.
In the chat, we got 2 other questions. Oh, just a thank you. They're just blown away. So Devon, again, let me stop sharing my screen real quick. Go back here. So again, Devon, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Everybody that came in tonight, 7:30 on a Sunday. It's a hard time. I know everybody got to get the kids ready if you got kids tomorrow. But again, thank you for taking the time to come checking us out. Again, this is the Entrepreneur Network. Devon, My Wife Didn't Cook, author, father, Mr. New Britain, as I said. You know, your story is very impactful. A lot of people don't know your story. They just see the end goal and not the beginning. And I think it's very important for you to come in and share the beginning, the origin of your story, so that when people reflect and see the success that you have now, they understand what it took in the journey to not give up and learn the power of trial and error. So with that being said, everyone have a great night. Devon, stay on. I'm going to end the recording right now.